Right, all right, all right. What's up, people? You are live with Mizz Moodie on blogtalkradio.com. And this evening I have Jamell Henderson with me. Jamell, you with me? Hello?
Hello?
Jamell, you can hear me?
Hello? Yep, I'm here.
All right, all right. And before I get into the topic, I have to get into a little bit of history real quick. I don't know if you remember this, but for all my listeners, the second time I ever met Jamell was at a Mary Kay party, and I don't know if you remember this. I said, I thought it would be a good idea if I had a talk show one day. It's kind of pretending to interview you. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I said, when I got my own show, I promised to have you on the show. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
So here I am, a woman of my word. I have my own show, and now I have you as my guest. Before we get into tonight's topic, you are running for Brooklyn College, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences student government president. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so, I go to Brooklyn College as well, and I feel like as far as campus life are concerned, we're two very different people. So what I want you to do is for people like me who just, are worried about getting to work, then getting to school, then going home and not really getting involved in campus life, let people like me know why it's important to vote at all and why it's important to vote for you.
Well, first of all, I want to say good evening to everybody that's listening out there, and I want to thank you, Camille, for allowing me to be on your show tonight. It's indeed an honor and privilege. The reason why I'm running is because as college students, whether, we pay out of pocket or if we get financial aid, our money is being used to help to keep the school, functioning. So if you look at the tuition, there's a piece of the tuition that goes to student activity fees. And those fees are used to help enhance student life on campus. So regardless if a student may not be active, they should at least know where their money is going. And that's where the student government comes in. The student government is responsible for making sure that, the activity fee is utilized in a way that's helping to promote student life. The reason why I'm running is because, one, I feel that the student government needs to be active. It needs to be fully seen on campus, and that it needs to be very transparent, working with the clubs, working with student leaders, working with the community, all of that, and regardless, my goal is even if there are going to be students, which is a good percentage of students that may just go to class and go home, at least they can have access to know where their money's going. They can have an understanding of what we're doing with their money. So that way it won't look like it's just used in vain. And which is kind of covering what we're going to be discussing tonight. So, having that trust and understanding with the government. And besides, for me, this is something that I do. I enjoy doing this, and I've had experience, being at BMCC, coming to Brooklyn College, dealing with leadership. It's a great and wonderful thing.
And also good practice since you plan to pursue a career in politics, correct?
That is absolutely correct.
All right, well, that's good. So y'all heard it here first, people. I am officially endorsing Jamell Henderson as student government president. So anybody who's listening, we both go to Brooklyn College, so I'm pretty sure a lot of mutual friends listening or a lot of other Brooklyn College students listening. If you're listening to me right now, you need to go vote for this guy. That's my official.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyway, so tonight's topic is, has our government gone corrupt? To be honest, I don't really know how to feel about this topic. I want to believe that, the government isn't up to anything, shady or fishy, but, things come out or like information comes out, which I don't even really know is true or not. I watch a lot of documentaries and things like that. And, it's kind of raising eyebrows right now. So So what do you think, Jamell? Do you think we can still trust this government, or is the whole, and particularly with Barack Obama, is he really all about hope and change, or is it just, a dream that we were sold that isn't really going to happen?
Okay, so first I want to, once again, thank you for allowing me to talk about this topic. And, I'm currently a student at Brooklyn College doing political science. So this is something that I enjoy. When you study political science, before I get into the question, you're studying power and how power is being used. You're studying the art of having power. See, now, when it comes to individual has dreams. An individual has ambition. See, it's not the actual, I would say, to answer the question, the government is not corrupt. It is the actual system that has been around for so many years that allowed the people to hold the position be corrupt. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, person X decides to run for city council in the Brownsville, Bushwick area, right? Mm-hmm. And they have strong ambitions. They want to make sure that, they have proper, playgrounds and they have, make sure that police are held accountable. And, they want to make sure that there's, farmers markets and all those things, and to make sure that crime goes down in these areas. So the people, believe the ambition because they're tired of the same old, right? They get voted in office. Now they have to deal with a system that may or may not allow them to get the things that they want. Okay? So unless you know how to play the game correctly, you don't know what you're fully getting yourself into. So this person could come into office, and be like, okay, and other city council people, can say, okay, well, you want this, right? Well, listen, I have a bill here that's going to support raising the taxes on the poor in our area. But, I know this is a stance that you don't want. However, you want to make these things happen in your community. So help me help you. And because of that, that's where the corruption begins. But there's a secret behind all of those things. First, if you want to look at nationally, and if you work all the way down to our local neighborhoods, we vote for the people that goes in office. Whether people believe that or not, it's the truth. You go, you show your ID, you cast the ballot, your vote is counted for. Simple as that. It doesn't matter how much advertising the person may put out there on TV or on the website or anything like that. At the end of the day, the vote belongs to the people. And every person that we put in office has a responsibility. And the problem is many communities don't hold their political leaders responsible. Instead, what they do, they keep voting them in because maybe they look good on TV, or they vote them in because they look great on the newspaper. And that is not the way it works. So unless you know how to master the system or be able to use it in a way that's going to help benefit you and the people, then you already are going to be corrupt within the system.
All right. You brought up an interesting point that I agree with, that people don't really, really utilize the voting system to the best of their advantage. Because what I feel is that, people don't really take the time to research who they're voting for. They don't really take the time to research the issues or get the facts together. They just kind of go in the voting booth and vote for who they like, who could be selling them a bunch of crap, basically. So would you agree with that statement?
Well, let me put it to you this way. The mayoral campaign is coming around, right? After we just had another historic election of the president. Do you realize that people don't understand this? The city of New York plays a crucial role in America's politics. Whoever the next mayor is sets the standard for all American cities throughout the nation. And I guarantee you're not going to get the same turnout that you've gotten with President Obama's reelection, because there is not a sense of awareness, nor people are paying attention. Think about it. This is a city where we're always moving, and we have about 4 candidates that's on the Democratic side and 2 candidates that's on the Republican side. And, unless you're active and involved, you're not paying attention to what they are all about unless you've been watching them throughout the entire terms, that they've held their offices. So, yeah, we always get those mails from people who we don't even know who they are, but they will, fill our mailboxes with all their junk about what they want to do, but they have never come to, let's say, a community board meeting, or they never came to our churches or our religious institutions, or they never came to our colleges or our schools. So what do you expect to happen? Unless you begin to build a network within the community, then your reputation grows. You shouldn't just pop up out of nowhere and be like, hey, I'm running, unless you got money. And if you don't have the money,
Bloomberg had a lot of.
Right. But if you're the average Joe, you have to work your way up. You have to. And that's what leadership is all about. Establishing a communication with the people and making sure that you have the people's trust, whether they agree or disagree with what you have.
All right. I got one more question for you, and then I got to get to my first caller.
No problem.
All right. Okay, so we're talking about city government right now, but let's take it back to national government.
Okay,
do you think capitalism is a problem? Because to me, it kind of seems like it's not the government running the country, but it's the people buying off the senators and, the people in legislation, getting them to pass bills to favor their business, running the country. So for me, from my perspective, it's not feeling like a government for the people, by the people, but a government for business and by business. So how do you feel about that?
First question. In almost all businesses, what's the first thing a business needs?
Money.
Okay. And how does it get the money?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna narrow it down like this. All right. How does Macy's make its money?
How does Macy's? Well,
yeah.
They sell stuff. I don't know how to get it
to who?
To the people.
Bingo. You just answered the question. You see,
so basically you're saying the power is still with us.
The power is still within the people. However, again, if the people don't know or they don't realize what's going on, it will keep things flowing. Listen, we lived in a society, and our parents and grandparents have been part of boycotts where they shut down businesses, and businesses had to come to the people to make deals, because you can't run a business if you don't have the people. I guarantee you, there's over 1 billion users on Facebook right now. I guarantee you, if 500 million people were to deactivate their pages and boycott Facebook for 100 days, I guarantee you Facebook will release a statement and try to resolve whatever's going on with the people, regardless if they're saying, hey, we need you to support us in our areas. We need you to develop scholarships for those who's looking, whatever. That's the importance of people. You see, if the government, yes, the government has a major role and they make sure, that they do what they're supposed to do. Not all the time, but yes, the businesses do send lobbyists to support whatever they have. However, once again, if the people are aware of these things, then what's going to happen is that the people will pay attention. But if the people don't pay attention, then the businesses will do whatever they want to do.
Well, yeah, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like the problem is people don't pay attention. People are kind of into their own little world or what goes on in their day-to-day lives, and they're not readily thinking about what's going on outside of their own little world. That's not really I'm not trying to say like I'm blaming the people, but it's like, cause I mean, we got bills to pay. We gotta, you have your day-to-day life, but I'm just kind of feeling like that's not something that people think about from day to day. If I go over here to Walmart, I'm supporting the corrupt business. They're just thinking I need shoes for my child, But all right, I gotta let me get to the first caller.
No problem.
All right, caller, can you hear me?
If it's me, yes I can.
Yes, it is you. Yes, it is you. One of my regulars. Hi, Greg. What do you think?
Hello,
do you still have... What's up? Do you still have faith in, the government, or do you feel like it's going corrupt?
Do I still have faith in the government? I think there are a lot of areas in which, yes, I do have faith in the government, but I have, faith that the government will, perform to the best of its ability. But then there's just other areas where, I guess as a recipient, as a regular person, that, sometimes our voice just isn't big enough. Like a big example of government having, a power over the people, I think would probably be, the concurrent fair hike with the MTA.
Yeah.
That's, it's almost like a monopoly. They're at $2.50 right now. They could very well go to $5, and people would still, because it's a monopoly. People have to get to work. People have to get to school. People still have to get where they need to go who don't drive. So, it's almost like you're really, the term strap hanger, is actually a perfect term because you're almost strapped by the MTA to have to, depend on mass transit. So, I mean, I think it's a good point with, that Jamell made with Facebook. If 500 million people stop using Facebook for 100 days, yeah, Facebook would definitely be forced, to have to, do something different. But in a monopoly, monopoly type situation like the MTA, it's really difficult to, because, to stop going to Facebook, well, that's a matter of, signing out and, or deleting your account. It's a little difficult when it comes to, your everyday livelihood. So, I mean, you won't really hit, like, it'll be difficult to boycott, Pathmark or, Target or some place where people, depend on their services to survive. I mean, I guess that's where government may have the edge over, the everyday person.
I agree with that point, but again, this is something that's going to keep coming up. Like, if people were really determined to boycott the MTA, they could. Because, I mean, we've seen this in previous generations where, obviously the Alabama bus boycotts. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of them were dependent on the bus to get to work, too. But, it was an important issue, and, the buses got boycotted and the laws got changed. But the thing is, I think we're dealing with a different generation of people, namely our generation, that, I mean, my own theory, and I blame a lot of it on technology, because I kind of feel like the difference between the 60s and now is that the 60s, they didn't have TV with like 5,000 different channels. They didn't have computers. They didn't have cell phones. Matter of fact, did they even have color TVs like that? I mean, I know it was invented, but I don't think it was an everyday household item like that. So, and I'm like, it was only like, 4 or 5 channels. Like, you had to pay attention to what was going on. Like, because, we didn't have so many distractions. But now it's like, you get mad at something and you turn a blind eye to it. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this, though. I mean, you could say, yes, technology may have played a role, but technology has even exposed the people whom we elect even in a greater light. Because
that's also true.
Politicians can reach out to us via Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, all these things, and they can promote themselves in a much more effective way. See, the problem is that many people are electing the same old. And what I mean by that, why should a person be in office for all these years? You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Charles Rangel, for example. All right? Mm-hmm. What has he really done outside of the times of civil rights that has really helped or stopped Harlem from being fully gentrified the way it is right now? Okay? Harlem was a historically African American neighborhood. It was deemed as the capital of Black America. But there's almost a Starbucks on every corner. I mean, you got H&M, all these luxurious stores that many people may not buy from. And you have a disparity and a disposition where you have a lot of African Americans who are being forced to move out of their areas because real estate is skyrocketing prices because other demographics are coming in. That's not fair, but yet he still gets elected. You have people who are constantly in office that are still getting reelected just because, and they're not doing anything. And that's the problem that I feel as a political scientist, we have a division right now. You see, you have old America versus new America. And that was clear in the 2012 presidential election because President Obama had the entire new America vote, literally. And Mitt Romney had the old America vote. So all of those people who are the old school America, they are the ones that's still being reelected in office and not doing anything, where you have the new generation of politicians like myself who are trying to make a difference, but they can't because, people are not trusting. They don't want to give a chance to try something new. And sometimes something new can be something good. But people are getting, there's a sense of comfortability which is not effective for the average person who's paying their taxes and want to see, their community strive and do what they have to do. So that's the major issue that people are having. People are not giving somebody a try. Anybody can run for any office. But the problem is, even if they don't have the money and they may have a great vision, they're going to keep the person that's been in office for years after years after years and sit there and just, waste the chair.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I got one more caller. I hope she's still there. Okay. Hello? Caller? All right.
Hey,
we got 6 minutes left. Oh, yeah. What up, Sham? All right. We got 6 minutes left. So, real quick, do you still have faith in this government, or do you feel like it's become corrupt?
I think the government. Well, my personal opinion is I really think the government really is corrupt, but like a lot of you guys have been saying, I think it's partially it's both the government and the people. Like people nowadays are really really apathetic when it comes to politics. They feel like, voting and all that doesn't affect their lives, and then they're complaining, oh my gosh, look at all these things that are going on in terms of employee fare hikes and all this stuff. Everything's going up, and my salary's not going up, and they're not really protesting anything that's going on. They're just oh well, this is just the way it is, And if we, as a people, keep allowing the politicians and people in power to feel we'll just take whatever they get, they're going to keep doing whatever they want to do, and as far as business, that's another thing too. We keep supporting businesses that don't support us, that don't support our communities. And everything just kind of keeps going in a vicious circle. You know what I mean? All that apathy isn't really affecting change.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I keep saying, I feel like if we as people were determined to really make noise, we could. But then again, I'm going to flip that on its head now, because we did try to do that with Occupy Wall Street, which ended up getting squashed. So, does anybody have any thoughts on it? Thank you, Jamell.
With Occupy Wall Street, what made them fail, there was no concrete vision. And I'm going to explain why. Okay, you say you want to occupy Wall Street. What do you want the businesses on Wall Street to do? Let's say you want the businesses on Wall Street to deliver funds to help communities that are paying, or the consumers who help the business move forward. They didn't do that. They didn't say they want to have a meeting and sit down with the executives to come up with a strategic plan with politicians to say they want this to happen. They pretty much just got around and just was fed up. And my thing is, you have to be tactful in how you come at these businesses and things like that. Yes, their strength was in numbers, but if they were to use that number to really, let's say, shut down businesses, if those drastic measures didn't work out, they would have had a much more effective turnout and a much more effective result. But because they were everywhere, they couldn't focus on just one item.
Yeah. All right, you have a good point there. I don't have no counter argument for that one.
Of course, I always do, but we're running out of time.
What happened?
I said, of course, I always do, but we're running out of time.
Go ahead. You got 3 minutes.
No, I really don't.
Oh.
Well, no, it's the truth, guys. Like, think about it. If you gotta be able to come up with a strong plan, and if all else fails, then you get radical. So, like, for example, let's say, like I said, use the same plan. Let's say they sat down for weeks with, Wall Street executives and politicians, and they could not agree. Okay, that's when the leadership of Occupy Wall Street would say, listen, we try to sit down with the business executives. We try to sit down with Mayor Bloomberg. We try to come up with strategic plans and solutions. They did not want to agree with it. So based on the fact that we've done our part as an organized movement to make sure they have an opinion or a vote at the table and they didn't want to accept it, it's time for us to get radical. It's time for us to shut down businesses. It's time for us to be in the street, because now you're giving people an understanding as to why you're really doing what you do and that you've tried doing it the right way. It makes no sense to get radical and you don't do it the right way when there's no solution. If you do it the wrong way and you still want to get crazy, but there's no solution, it's like people just keep moving.
I think, just really quick, I think that because with the Occupy Wall Street, they had a lot of celebrity supporters. So it's like, I think with that, because celebrities have power, celebrities have money, celebrities have influence. So in addition to the regular people not really just getting that extra push and moving forward, I think a lot of the celebrities didn't really use their influence as well as they should have. The only person that there's probably others, but the only person that I can actually put my hand on who actually made somewhat of a difference is Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons was actually out there, and he was also providing a lot of the protesters with clothing, because they were out there for days or so. Then also Jay-Z made a comment about why he wasn't supporting Occupy Wall Street, and he said that he didn't know anything about it. He didn't know enough about it. And then Russell Simmons actually went public and corrected him and actually informed him about what it's about. And then another thing with that is Jay-Z also made money off of the Occupy Wall Street, because he came out with a T-shirt that said he had Occupy Wall Street. So is that a good business decision for him? Yeah, of course, because he got paid over it. But he used something that he said that he didn't know anything about to make a profit off.
To make money. All right, Greg, I'm sorry I got to cut you off because I only got 30 seconds left. So I'm sorry to have to cut this conversation short because it's really going well, but I got to wrap this up. So I want to thank you, Jamell, for coming on the show and giving a really stimulating conversation right now.
My pleasure.
I'd like to tell everybody listening that goes to Brooklyn College, please go vote for Jamell in the student government elections. I'd like to thank everyone who listened, everyone who called in, and I'll see y'all next week.